Hi, I'm Claire. Welcome to Ballymelon Farm. Today Lance and I are getting ready to build some new raised beds. We've decided to put those on the other side of our strawberry patch. It is super windy, yucky day today. I'm going to film what we're doing, but I'd say most of what you hear from us will probably be in voiceover, or else we'll try and find a little hidey hole to tuck out of the wind so we can let you know what we're doing. A little while ago we decided raised beds were a better way for us to go. We find that they are a lot easier to manage with weeds, and we just really like the look of them as opposed to the in-ground gardens. Although we have had very beautiful looking raised bed gardens, just because we are going to be kind of venturing into the market garden, we really wanted our home veggie garden to be really manageable for just one person or one or two people to manage. So that's why we've decided to do the in-ground garden, and in a minute I'll show you where we're going to put that. So this area of the in-ground garden has just got very weedy. It used to be a calf paddock, and it's always just been full of weeds. Weeds are a thing that we've really struggled with in this area. So once we took most of the large weeds out that we pulled out by hand, we decided that we would lay this black plastic down just to kill any of the other weeds there. So you can see all the brown bits in the soil there are the dead weeds. So it worked really well. We are now rolling up the black plastic as best as we can in this wind. It's mostly just us bunching it all up. Unfortunately, it's not going to be folded really nicely. So now that we've taken all of the black plastic off, we're just clearing the last few posts and things that we had holding down the plastic, just so we can make the area tidy and get started with the work on the tractor. So a little while ago we brought this roll of black plastic that we use for our gardens. We used a little bit as a water slide for the kids, and then we've used the rest for covering up garden spaces. It has worked really well. It does get some holes in it, which is a bit of a pity, but you can tape them up. And we have been getting lots and lots of uses out of it. We also just like to use what we have lying around to hold down the black plastic, and we just find that works really well. We just kind of have a pile of stuff close to the veggie garden that we use. These posts here that I'm carrying used to be the trellises for our tomatoes. Our tomatoes had a terrible year in this space, and I think it's just because we had them growing in the same area for so long. So this year we have moved our tomatoes down to a different area. So now Lance is running the tractor with the tiller through the garden. It's just helping to remove those last little clumps of yellowy weeds that you can see there. We were then able to go through and just kind of pick out any of the bigger chunks and just get rid of those. After he's finished here, the area just looks heaps better. Like, it's been full of weeds for so long, and it's just really nice to see it looking nice and tidy again. So we're really excited to get the raised beds in, and this garden looking really nice and tidy for growing this spring. So after Lance has run through that with the tractor, he's going to try and level it out a bit. Then we're going to measure up the area and see what kind of space there we have for raised beds. What we do is, to maximize each piece of timber, we make one side and one end from each piece, which means we get one whole raised bed from two pieces of timber. And that means there's no cut off, like little bits of cut off waste, and we just get to maximize each piece of timber, because it's, you know, not the cheapest thing to do. The pallet of wood costs us $600 from Farmlands. So each bed is roughly 4 meters by 0.8 meters, and that means that we get the most out of the timber, which I have said a million times. Yeah, so I'm thinking we can fit 4 by 3, which will give us another 12 beds, which is what we currently have next to the greenhouses. So we'll see how that goes, and hopefully it works. So I will find another little hidey hole to come and chat to you about what our next plan is. So now we're just measuring up the areas so we can make a plan and work out how many raised beds we're going to be able to fit in this area. The next step is to make a bit of a plan on paper. So you can see here we are just trying to do some calculations about how big we would like each bed to be. So we're just going to draw up the plan now. The area we measured was 14 metres by 8 metres. We have got 100 metres of timber to work with. So we're going to see how we go and see what plan we come up with. Here's the plan that we worked on while we were having a bit of a coffee break. Over this end of the garden, so this is where the greenhouses are, so this bit here. So the greenhouses and the other raised gardens over here, the strawberries and then the rhubarb are here. So we've decided to run all the beds this way so we can pop the arches around this way, and then when you're standing at this part of the garden looking this way, then you're looking down the rows and you probably won't notice this gap here. They'll probably all look like just long rows. So we've gone with 6 beds that are 4 metres by 0.9. These ones are 2 metres by 0.9. The reason we've done these ones 2 metres by 0.9 is we obviously don't have the space to make them 4 metres, and to maximise the timber that we have, so these are 4 metres, so it makes sense that then these are 2 metres, so we utilise the timber as best as possible. So yeah, I think that'll look really good when you're kind of standing. Well, this is the main entrance here into the veggie garden, so when you come in and you look that way and that way, it will kind of all flow really nicely together, and you'll be able to look down this way and see the beds this way instead of running this way, where I think it would look a bit more disjointed. So yeah, I think that will work really nicely. So now we're going to start making the raised beds. Lance is just getting all of the stuff set up, and we're just going to have one person on cutting, one person on hammering, and we're pretty sure that we can knock out these 12 raised beds pretty quick. So we're hoping to get all the raised beds made today. Yeah, that's going to be cool, and I'll probably just time lapse us making the beds, unless there's anything specific that needs to be explained. When we made the first raised beds next to the greenhouses, I did a lot of it on my own and I really enjoyed it. I think it's really cool when you can learn to do a skill on your own, and you can just get out there and get it done. It was awesome that today Lance and I could do it together. We really love working together, and we definitely got through it heaps faster with the two of us working together. It's a few days later. We just haven't had time to carry on with the area yet, so today we are going to Lance is going to run the tractor through with this thing on it and make the soil all nice and fluffy, and then we are going to just place the raised beds where we would like to have them. So we've just got an hour today, or half an hour today, where we're going to just do that quick job with the tractor and then lay all the beds where we want to have them.
Okay, so we're just going to run the harrows over it really quickly. So these are Ferguson spike tooth harrows. They fold, which is quite cool for getting through gateways and stuff. And really the idea is just to level it a little bit better, knock some of the lumps and bumps off, so that when we lay the garden beds out and put the weed matting down for the paths, it's fairly level underneath it. So that's what we're going to get into now.
Just laying the beds out how we have them in our plan, and we will see how they all look once we've got them all in place. So we've just placed all of the raised beds on the garden. We just need to shuffle them all down this way a bit more, so we've still got quite a bit of space here. And we're just worried that if we leave them too close down this end, that when we get the hedge trimmed here, the tractor that comes along the race might just clip this one. So here they all are, and yeah, well, when we have some more free time, we will just shuffle them all down, make sure that there is a metre between each bed for the path and a metre down the middle here, so we just need to make it a little bit more, get the measuring tape out, make sure it's all even. Yeah, looking good. So today I just had some free time to come and shuffle all those beds down and move them to where I wanted them to go. They were pretty easy to move around, and it didn't take me too long to shuffle them all down. And once I'd finished, it sort of looked like they were in a heaps better position, so that when that tractor came through to cut the hedge, or for any other reason, if we had to bring one of the big tractors through, that they weren't going to clip the top raised beds there by the hedge because they were too close to the track. We're really excited to have some more raised gardens to grow in this year. The ones we grew in last year didn't go so great, mostly because of the compost that we put in them was a little bit too hot. But we have found that the raised beds have been heaps easier to manage than the in-ground garden. And I think it's just because you have that sort of box area, I suppose, where you know that that's the area that you're weeding and kind of maintaining. And I've just found that managing them is heaps easier than the in-ground garden. Although I love the in-ground garden because it was very eclectic and I just planted things wherever I wanted, I think I'll still just plant things wherever I feel like it, because I feel like that makes the garden a lot more fun than having to stick to a plan. I really enjoy just planting like a mismatch of all different types of things in one bed, putting in flowers and a whole lot of different plants. I just feel that it makes the garden a really nice place to be, and it looks really nice. But yeah, if straight lines are your cup of tea, then I would definitely do that as well. So now I've got all the gardens in place. I've managed to shuffle them all down to the right place and get the path sizes fairly even. So I'm just walking through it and I think it's looking really great and I'm really happy with it. It's another windy day today, so it's a few days later. I'm just going to come out and lay some of the weed mat. We don't live in the ideal place for making videos, but all good. I will voice over anything important. So yeah, I'm going to lay the weed mat out and try and get these beds laid out where I want to put them today, so we can start leveling them. We're about 2 or 3 weeks out from our planting day, last frost kind of thing. Yeah, so that's what I'm up to today. So I feel like it's always windy when you try and do the jobs that you need to do and you probably shouldn't do in the wind. So yeah, this is a bit hilarious, me trying to wrestle with this weed mat, but eventually I get it pinned down and get the beds on top so it stays in place. So I just don't know if I'm 100% happy with how I've got the beds configured. So currently I have them running this way because I was hoping that with the other raised gardens here in the arch I could line them up so eventually we could kind of make it flow this way. So this is the arch that I was hoping that they would line up with, and as you can see they don't really line up very well. But when you look from here, this is kind of on like the wrong angle, so I'm wondering if I'm better to run the beds down this way. So I'm just going to, I've got 7 meters that way and 15 meters that way, so I'm just going to see how I can configure the beds. So I have 6 4 meter long beds and 6 2 meter long beds. So yeah, I'm just going to see how I go. So it takes me a little while and a few different pitches to work out how best to fit all these beds in the space, since the original idea didn't really work. Eventually I come up with a design that I'm really happy with, and it's what we've stuck with, and I'm really pleased with how it's looking now that it's all finished. So I've just kind of tried to make the beds fit in and now I'm just calculating. So if I had a, so yeah, I'm a visual person, this is how my brain works to try and figure it all out. So yeah, when I have the solution, I will show you. Okay, after many pictures to try and figure it out, I think this is going to work the best. So I've got the 3 2-meter long ones in the middle with the longer ones on either side, and then 3 along the end here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to drag them around and see how it actually looks, and then I'll come back to the drawing board if it doesn't work out. So every time Lance watches the videos that I've made and I've put them in like a time lapse or fast speed or whatever, he thinks it's hilarious. So I tell him that this is the speed that I work at when no one's watching. So I get quite a lot of stuff done very quickly. So I'm really happy with this layout. I'll show you from a few different angles. So this is coming from the greenhouse up towards the track. And then looking back at it towards the greenhouse, I think the beds following the slope of the garden work really well. And although we didn't get the flow through this archway as I was hoping for, I think the garden all following the same slope looks really nice. So today we are going to be laying down the rest of the weed mat. We're going to be just measuring between each bed to make sure our paths are all the same size. So we've decided not to level the beds. They are on quite a slope, but it was just going to be too much work, and we really need to be able to plant in them soon. We've always grown in this garden in the ground anyway on this slope, and we've never had any issues, so we're going to hope that it's the same. So I'm going to be laying the weed mat down here for each path, and I'm going to be measuring as I go to make sure all the beds are the same distance apart, and Lance is going to be doing another job, and I will show you what he's up to. So in each of our garden beds we have these pegs here, which are just keeping the beds in place, so they go down into the ground and then are nailed to, I don't know if they're nailed to the side actually, so they just go down into the ground and to keep the bed in place where we want it to be. So Lance is doing that now with the first one. The other thing we have is just these planks of wood along the sides and in the middle, and they're to stop the bed from warping, and yeah, just keeping it nice and straight. So Lance has got these old pieces of timber, and he just is going to bang them in along the edge of the bed to keep it in place. So one of those on each corner. Yeah, you're going to put one in the middle? No. So these are just nailed to the edge to keep them in place. Okay, so I have to measure the paths to be 800 millimeters. I need to move this one over slightly so we get the right size for the path, and then I will lay down the weed mat.
Happy enough? Cool. So we've been having a play around with trying to get the beds level, but we've decided rather than try and get them perfectly level, we're going to actually lay the beds and have them follow the contour of the ground. The area that we're doing it is just sloping far too much, and if we were going to get them perfectly level, we would either have to dig a hell of a lot out at one end or add a hell of a lot of fill to the other end to try and get it to level. So it actually contours the way we've done it with the rest of the garden quite well, so we've decided to leave it that way, and I think once it's done and once it's growing, you won't really notice the difference.
Our glasses are fogging up and it's very, very, very hot. We are just, so we pegged that first bed in, and then we realised that we needed to be able to pop the weed mat underneath it. So we're just going along now and laying all the weed mat and measuring between all the beds, and then we'll bang them all in, just to save us having to kind of dig underneath them to be able to squeeze it underneath. So this is what we've done so far. I'm really happy with this layer. I think it's going to look really nice from the other garden. So Lance is just measuring between each bed. And then tucking the weed mat underneath it. We've got a few more to go. Okie dokie, we're all finished here for the day. So the beds are pretty much ready to go now. We've pegged them all in. We've measured all the paths and put the weed mat in. We've probably just got the boards to go across the middle to stop them from warping. We've just ran out of weed mat for that area there, but we're really pleased with how it's going. So I'll show you down this end. Okay, so from this end, I think it's looking really good. One more thing, we're really happy with how everything's gone. So we decided not to put any more compost or topsoil or anything like that in these beds, just because the soil's really good and we just didn't want to spend the money for compost. And yeah, so what we're going to do is just mulch all of these now for the next couple of weeks until it's time to plant them, and I'm just going to plant straight in the soil, and we'll kind of like we'll see how they go. If we feel like over winter that we need to put some mulch in there, well, not some mulch, sorry, if we need to put some mulch in there, no, I said mulch again, if we need to put some compost in there, we'll do that over winter. The reason we don't want to get compost for these or buy compost is we have a pretty good place here that we get compost from. We got compost from them for the other raised beds, and it was too hot, and so when we put our plants in, nothing sort of grew very well, so we didn't really want to risk that with these beds this time. So we decided that we would just plant straight into the ground, and we would put straw or wool over to mulch them, and you know, eventually build them up that way with mulch, and you know, we might choose to compost over winter or something like that. I'm really, really happy with how it looks from this side of the garden. I really like these 4 in the middle. I think they'll look really cool. So yeah, I'm excited to get some plants in there in the next couple of weeks. So anyway, I think we're going to wrap up this video now for the making the raised beds and the new garden area. The next things we're going to be doing there anyway are the wood chip for the paths, and then planting and mulching for our spring and summer veggies. So yeah, we'll catch you on the next one, and thanks heaps for watching.